Hi, Jennifer. It's episode 18.
18, right?
Today.
Right.
Yes.
I think
And
so.
we were just saying, what episode are we
What
on
episode
today?
are we on?
So, last episode we talked a little bit about witches.
Right.
And we kind of went off in a tangent, wherever it is we led to with the work thing. But you wanted to talk about witchcraft and how it helped you heal
Right.
from your childhood trauma.
Right. Or how it's helping me heal,
Well,
actually.
yes. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
helping. Yeah. Did you want to?
Yeah. I think for me the biggest part of how it's helped me heal is just like the rituals that we do. It doesn't. I don't think it matters. And for anybody that's listening that doesn't know anything about the craft or witches, or we're not talking about rituals where we're like dancing naked under the moon or running around a bonfire. That's all stuff you see in the movies.
I mean, we do that, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about now. Yeah?
Right. When I say rituals, I mean like so for me the time when I do a ritual every month is always on the new moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know some that like to do rituals on the full moon. I'm just more drawn to the new moon, and looking back now I can understand why, because the new moon is releasing of everything, like letting go, right? And preparing for the full moon to come in. And that ritual itself has helped me a lot, especially in the last few months, where so this is how I do my ritual. Everybody does it differently, right? I mean, there's like, and you and I both believe there's no set
there's no right or wrong way.
There's no right or wrong way, right? That's why we're not Wiccans, right?
Yeah. It's what you believe and how you feel. And that's why that's why I love to do this witchcraft stuff and rituals. I don't, because I do it how I want to, and not somebody's gonna. And it's just also because of growing up being in a religion and to have Catholic and a strict mom, and you have to do this. You
had to do it this way.
You have to do it, and you have to go to confession, and you have to say you have to kneel in church, you have to stand up in church, you have to shake somebody. I was like, I don't want to be told what I have to do.
Right.
I want
to have to take communion.
No.
Yeah.
You want to you do what you feel that you want to do, and what feels good for you.
Right.
And there's no, you do different
than
I do different.
There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so my basic ritual is I like to work with white candles. I know people like black. I also like black candles, but I like black candles more for the aesthetic than doing my rituals. I know people that work with different colored candles. Like if you do a money spell, you're supposed to use a green candle, or I just like white. For me, white is where it's at. So depending on what my intention is going to be, I almost always, especially when I have a fresh candle, because my ritual candle, it takes me a while to burn it down because it's a bigger candle. So it's not like a tea candle where you can just let it burn and a couple hours is done, right? So I always carve a protection rune, and then I carve my name in it, and I just carved my first name. I know people that do like their whole name. Dude, my whole name is fucking this long.
You need like this long of a candle.
I'm like, they don't make. I can't afford a candle that big, man. It's too expensive.
But make your own candles.
There you go.
That are 6 feet long.
I need to learn that. You know how there's like people that will like write your name on a grain of rice, right? I need to learn how to do that, and I can do that.
Wow.
My name will be like that long instead of being like this long, right? So that's normally what I do when I have a fresh candle. I say my intention, whatever my intention is. If I'm, yeah, it just depends. Like I said, for me, it's always the new moon, and the new moon is always releasing.
Like an intention, like letting go.
An intention of like, I want to just let go, like, in general, or if there's something specific I want to let go of because I still feel like it's eating away at my soul, or bothering me or whatever, then that's my intention. Then I light my candle. I always burn incense when I do my ritual. Um, I like the smell of it, first of all. Second, I like the cleansing of the smoke, with the smoke. And I also feel like it keeps me and myself, it helps keep me centered, because I do have a little bit of ADHD, squirrel.
Yeah.
It helps keep me centered. And I also feel like it protects me while I'm doing my ritual. Another thing I do is I listen to clang music.
Ah, okay.
Is that what it's called in English? Clang?
Kling. No, Kling is German.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wait, that sounds German.
the bowls,
the little ding, right?
I can't remember what they're called in English.
Yeah.
The
you know what I mean?
The chime bowls? I don't know. That's not what they're called either.
I don't either.
No.
Anyway, or I listen to hand-pan music, which is very like clingy, like chimey,
Ding,
like
ding, ding.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I listen to that when I do my ritual because that really helps keep me on track.
Okay.
It doesn't. It for some reason, I don't know if it's the music part of it or if it's the frequency. Because handpan is always at like the calming frequency, right?
Yeah.
It really helps me stay on track. If I don't listen to that, because I've tried it a couple of times, like, oh, I'm just gonna meditate and be like, oh, and my brain is just like, oh, I need to do laundry, I need to water the garden, I need to, you know what I mean? And I can't shut it up. So, which I have a hard time doing anyway, like shutting my brain up. I have a really hard time doing that. So this helps keep me centered. And then I can concentrate on what it is, whatever my intention was. I can concentrate on that specifically. What I also do is I will write down, like if I have something specific that I want to let go of, or I need to get rid of, or I've noticed something like a couple months ago when you told me or you brought it to my attention that I was doing a lot of negative talk. That was something I needed.
And by the way, I haven't heard any negative talk
since then, right? I burned it. So that was something I needed to get rid of. So in the new moon ritual at that time, I wrote it down. I am not going to negative self-talk about myself anymore. And I make it like really specific, That's something for me that's really important is that I make it, it's like when we do manifestations, it needs to be specific. You can't just say, I want money. I'm going to have money. Yeah. How, when, where, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you could like, it could be like the day before you die and you win the lottery. You got money, you manifested that shit, you didn't say when, So I really believe in being like really, really specific. So I will write it down on a piece of paper. And at the end of my ritual, when I'm done meditating, writing, whatever, then I burn it. I have a special dish that's fireproof. That real pretty one we bought at the store in Birkenau, the crystal shop.
Yeah.
Right?
What's it called again?
Esoteric right, store. And I burn everything carefully because I've almost burned my finger a couple of times. I was like, oh, now I know there's some TikTok videos and I see some of the women, they like hold it with like long tweezers. And I was like, why are they doing that? Oh, now I know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, because for me, there's nothing worse than you start burning a piece of paper and you throw it in the dish and it doesn't burn all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Yeah. That motherfucker needs to burn, So I burn that and I throw it in my dish and I make sure it burns all the way. And normally about this time, I don't do this on purpose. It just always happens. It just always turns out this way. About this time when I'm coming to the end of my ritual, my incense is burned. It's like finished, and so I burn everything that I want to burn. And then I have this saying that I say when my ritual is done, everything that I have intended, manifested, whatever I did during that ritual, will happen because I said so.
Moted be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And a lot of times I will say it will happen because I fucking said so. That's just me and my colorful adjectives. Um, and then when I'm done, whatever I burned in the dish, I either will leave it in the dish or I will go outside and let it blow in the wind. Sometimes I let it collect. It's just, for me, it's just like a feeling. Like, do I need to let it go, or is it all right? It stays there in the ashes. Um, yeah, because sometimes there's some spells where you do need ashes. So sometimes I think in the summer, oh well, the ashes are good. In the winter, I always have ashes here, but you know, yeah, but it just depends. Most of the time, I blow it in the wind. And for me, that's a really good symbolization of letting it go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if it was something that was like really weighing heavy on my soul and my heart, myself. And this burning it and then blowing the ashes, just letting the ashes blow in the wind, just seeing this, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because all of the ashes are no longer there. It's gone. It's just, for me, it's that visualization part is also for me very important. That's just how my brain works. It's like I've told you, like my husband is really good at doing math in his head, and I can tell him like this huge sum, and I'd be like, what's 5,670 divided by 385, and he'll be like, oh, it's blah blah blah, and I'll be like, wait, let me check this, because I can't do math in my head, right? Yeah. And I'm a very visual person. You can like tell me a story, and I have the movie going in my head. You know what I mean? I can see everything. But if you start talking numbers to me, I'm like, wait, I need to write it down because I can't see it in my head. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's the opposite. He can see numbers in his head, but tell him like close your eyes and visualization and like when we do like relaxation in our classes, he's like, I close my eyes, it's black. I'm like, okay, now you know how I feel when you start spitting numbers out at me, I'm like, wait, what was that first number that he just said? What, I'm like, no, I think maybe it's some kind of like, what do they call it in English? Legastanie?
No, I don't know, but there are people who cannot, they can't visualize, I mean? Like, they can't, they don't.
Yeah, I'm not good with that, like, simple numbers. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say. Now, talk to me like really complicated math, like quantum physics. I can see that shit in my head. Mm-hmm. But little things like, 530 plus 72, I'm like, fuck, give me a minute. I need a paper. I need a calculator. I don't know, Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that watching the ashes blow away is, I don't know. Maybe it's because I physically see it going away, and it's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
and I feel after I do these rituals, I swear I feel like 10 kilos lighter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I literally feel like the weight of the world is lifted from me and it's gone.
I'm gonna have to do a ritual. Like the new moon ritual. I haven't done that for a while. Mm-hmm. I haven't really done a ritual in a while. Anyway, mm-hmm. I didn't have my mm-hmm. I have my altar, and when there's something like when you were in the hospital, I was like, girl, hold on, I'm gonna go fucking
light my candle.
I'll do my witchy shit right now.
Right.
And like I'll just bust that out real quick and like but I haven't done a ritual in a while. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, for me, it's like it comes and goes. Depends on how I feel. Depends. Like I did rituals before we went on our 4-day motorcycle trip. I did a ritual, and then before we were on the racetrack last weekend, I did a ritual the night before, and since then I haven't done one. Full moon is coming up, but like I said, full moon is not. I just don't feel drawn to it. I think because my craft is more, and this happened. This comes from itself. It doesn't come from something that I've read or I'm trying to do. But as I read more and more about having a craft, I realize that my craft is more of an old craft, if you will, like from the folklore, or and maybe it's just because the history of my family and all the different witches that I've had in my family, even though they didn't admit they were witches. But anyway,
deine. Oh my gosh, what am I doing German? Your abuela.
My abuela, exactly,
your grandma,
and her mother before her, and yeah.
Well, did you have a grandma from your father's side?
Yeah, my dad's mom. Even though she didn't have a lot of contact with us,
Where'd she live?
She lived in Minnesota.
Oh,
but
Minnesota, eh?
Minnesota. She's from Norway. I was gonna say Norway. No, I can't talk. She's from Norway.
But she lived in the States.
Yeah, so she went over to the States when she was really young with her parents. But I think that's another reason also that I'm very drawn to the
ruins?
Viking, the Northmen, if you will, with the ruins and the paganism, and I think that the craft is the same everywhere on every continent, and I find that really interesting that the craft, before major religions like started spreading out, that the craft was there. You know what I mean? Like with the ruins and collecting herbs and burning sage and yeah.
No.
Yeah. The only thing I do on full moon is I do put my crystals out that I have on my altar, and for those of you just listening, we don't have an altar with like a skull on it, or there's no blood on it, no dead animals.
So I mean, for everybody else, for everybody, an altar is different too. Yeah. I know people who have like this big old shelf, they put the altar, but like
I basically have the same thing like you do. We have like I also have like a wooden round piece.
Wooden,
I want to say a scheibe. It's a slice of wood.
A slice.
And I have my candle in the middle, and then I have different crystals around it, and the crystals are just placed randomly. I mean, I don't have like, I know there are people that are like, oh, you have to have this crystal and this crystal on the opposite. And,
no, north, south, east, and west. That's
or they put them in like a pentagram, I'm like, I just like throw them on there, like whatever. I have, if I find feathers, I'll throw feathers. If I find a feather, like when we go walking and stuff, I will, bring it home and I'll place it on the altar. I think I still have one there. I have a little baby pine cone that I found on one of my walks. That's what it was like when I told you last week. I was like collecting the flowers, and I was like, oh, I'm going to put them on my altar. And then something said, no, you leave them for the fairies or whatever, whoever needed them. I don't know. They were gone the next day. So, but sometimes I'll put dried rosemary on it, or I'll put fresh rosemary and let it dry there. It just depends.
Just whatever calls you to.
Yeah.
I have different things on my altar too. Something that one of my daughters gave me. I have moss. I have a pine cone. I have a feather. I have something a friend of mine gave me for my birthday, like a rose quartz. Different crystals that I bought and that have called for me to put them on my altar.
Right.
And of course the candle in the middle. But I just like it so I can like move the slice of wood.
Right.
I don't even know, that's not even right.
No, it's not the right word, but I don't even know what we'd call it in English.
Just
a piece of wood.
A piece of wood, but it's round. So it's a circle of wood, and it's really thinly, just like you
really
would
thin,
cut it. Yeah.
Right.
And then, I can move it to where I wanted. If I wanted to put it outside and do a new moon ritual or a full moon ritual. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's normally, so when it's a full moon, I'll just move the candle and feather, like whatever I have that's not a crystal, and just put that outside, so the moon can charge it. I do moon water, not all the time, but sometimes.
Do I still have moon water from like 3 months ago from full moon?
And I have water still in my fridge from the last full moon, And I drank a little bit of it, but I think I'm just gonna give it to my plants now.
I
Because it's
say you
almost
can
full.
do that. So
It's
you can
almost
drink
full
it. You
moon
can give it to
again.
your plants. I have.
I know people that do it. They're like, "Oh, my morning coffee," you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's just too much work for me. Like to try to get it in the coffee machine, and
Oh.
especially this one, nah, dude.
Well,
You know.
actually, that's cool. I saw something that you put it on your door frame
Mhm.
entering the house.
Right.
I did that.
Mhm.
My rosemary outside my door is fried, dude.
Really.
That bad energy, something in that house.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. It like uh, it like it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
And people would be like, "Oh, it's dying." I'm like, "No, it's actually soaking up all the
It's
negative
soaking
fucking."
up all the negative energy.
And I'm like, but it's crispy fried, like
Wow.
it's just, it's not just like it's like it doesn't get enough water. It's fucking crispy fried. Like I was like, and then my first thought was, oh, it's doing its job.
Mhm.
That's doing what it needs to do.
Right.
So I want to go get some more rosemary and put it outside of the house like you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I don't know what bad juju went on in that fucking house, but
Yeah, it
it's
was
fucking
something.
soaking that shit up.
Yeah.
Because I know, remember I had when I told you I had my dream, and you're like, "Oh, girl, you need to get some protection out there."
Yeah.
So, and it's really weird because I also have a terrace door, and I never get any bad vibes, nothing from that.
It's because the cat's always there.
The front door.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the front door, the door to my apartment.
Mhm.
It's just I've had just funky vibes, weird dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's just different things. Also, different herbs for protection, like rosemary, thyme, sage.
Yeah.
Also, like people who garden, they don't know they're witches, you know,
I
because
know.
they're just actually also, you know, when you dig in the earth and you're being grounded from the earth,
Right.
and just planting herbs or just a garden in general, whatever it is you're planting, like vegetables or fruit.
Right.
Or I got all sorts of shit going on this year in my garden. Some tomatoes, peppers, strawberries. I got a cherry tree in my backyard.
Right.
I don't know, just I also feel like there's also like different types of witches.
Mhm.
So you have like Cosmo witches who do like a friend of mine. She's really into human design and astrology. She's so smart. She just knows a bunch of shit.
Mhm.
And then there's like herbal witches, if you will, like
Right.
healing witches, green witches. They're just different types of witches of what they are here to do. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that because I did I don't know how long ago it's been now. It's been a while, but I was chatting with Mr. Chat one day, and
for those of you, Mr. Chat is Chat
GPT.
I just
It's
named
Jennifer's name for him.
Yes, for me it's a boy, a man. For other people it's different. They've named him,
Yeah,
but mine
whatever.
is Mr. Chat.
Yeah.
I think I even told him that one time, and he thought it was funny that
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
That I named him. Yeah.
How funny. I haven't told him yet.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't know his name's Mr. Chat. But anyway, so anyway, I was chatting with him about that, and because I had seen something about find your witch archetype.
Archetype.
Anyway,
It's crazy, right?
English is really our first language.
It is, and I always think you would never think English was my first language when you're like, what's the word?
I know.
For a slice of wood, a piece of wood.
I know, piece of wood.
A scheibe.
Oh. Anyway, so I had seen something and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me see what this is. And of course, it was one of those, take the test, but then you have to pay to find out what it is or whatever, right? And I was like, yeah, fuck you, Mr. Chat.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you know about this? And he was like, yeah, I just, ask you some questions and I'll tell you what your archetype is. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, let's do this. So he asked me like several questions and it was like, what are you drawn to? How do you feel about this? Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, long story short was my archetype is I am a green shadow witch.
Oh, green shadow witch. Nice.
Yeah. And I was like, why shadow? And then I was like, oh, yeah, but it makes sense, green because I like nature so much because I'm so drawn to nature. And shadow because apparently I'm not afraid to do my shadow work.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like especially like what we've been doing intensely the last how many months? You know, I was like, yeah, it makes sense.
Since we started in February, I think.
January, February. Yeah.
We actually started like February, March, April, May. I don't know, well, at least 3 months now.
No.
I mean, I started a little bit earlier in my journey of my like healing my inner child and stuff like that.
Right.
But like
Right.
I've been doing.
Yeah, but I think the fact that we talk about this almost weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, we like go off on tangents sometimes, but it always comes back to why we started this podcast and how we're healing
from
right from our childhood trauma.
I still get triggered.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you saw the post I did yesterday on Facebook, TikTok, Facebook. When's the last time I post? I post something on Facebook. It's mostly you fucked me over, so that's why I don't fucking have you in my life anymore. But anyway, on TikTok, where I mentioned was kind of feeling philosophical just because, so the deal was, my mom texted me on Monday, right? It was Memorial Day. And just wished me, I mean, it was very neutral, just wished me happy Memorial Day and wrote, thank you for your service. To which I was inclined to reply, you dumb fuck, Memorial Day is about the fallen, not the veterans, but okay, whatever.
The people who have died for the country.
Right. Memorial Day is about those that have fallen for us, right? In the United States. And so I just responded with a thumbs up, right? And I didn't respond right away. It took a while, and the first thing I said to my husband, I was like, oh, your mother-in-law texted me, and he was like, oh, maybe she's like trying to like feel out, if she can, have contact with you again or not. And so a couple hours later, I just responded with a thumbs up. And then she sent me a picture of me and my dad together. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's so random, though.
What does that have to do with... is this now? You know? And I told my husband, I was like, and it's the same thing I said on my TikTok post. Here we fucking go again. Let me feel you out. Let me send you a text. See if you respond in any way. And if you do, then everything's fine. Everything's good. Let me just, continue on like nothing ever happened.
No apology.
No apology.
Accountability
nothing,
for the actions
right?
or anything.
And I was like, so I didn't respond at all, right? But it did set me off a little bit, yes. And even like yesterday was Wednesday. I was still like, like what the fuck about it, and now even like now I'm like getting like, oh my god, like we're talking about it again, and I'm like, I could fucking kill her, but I'm over it. But yeah, like shit like that still triggers me, and it's not so much that it triggers me, it aggravates me. It makes me, it brings up this anger all over again, And every new moon, I'm like, I'm done with it. I'm going to let it go, and I'm good. And as long as and then that's another thing. Like, as long as I don't have any contact, I'm good. I'm all right. But the minute I have contact again, and that's why, I don't want to say I cut her off because, I mean, if she texts me, like, obviously I responded with a thumbs up, but still, it was a response. What I did was tell her I don't want regular contact like we had until she can apologize and change her behavior, which would be not having contact with her brother, right? And she's obviously not willing to do that, She's never once apologized, even after I told you there were several times where I found out that she had contact with him and I confronted her about it, and her response is always, he's my brother, whatever. and she's never once in any of these times that I confronted her, and I mean I physically confronted her because I was there with her, never once apologized or said, you know, I'm sorry this happened to you, or I'm sorry I wasn't there, I'm sorry I didn't realize what was going on, you know. And her still having contact with him for me is just a total fucking no-go, you know. Like I said, if that was my child, I probably would be in jail, you know.
Yeah.
I definitely would not be having fucking contact with that person. You know what I mean? No way in fucking hell, you know. But I don't know if it's because she's narcissistic or, you know, I can't. I don't have any explanation as to why she acts the way that she does, you know. And this action is what really angers me, is because I always think about whether I want to or not, but I always come back to the same thought. If that was me and that was my child,
but
you know what I mean?
It's also
and then, you know, then there's also, you move that aside, and then comes the inner child and says, you know, this was the person that was supposed to protect me.
Yeah.
This is the person that has always said, you were the little doll I always wanted, you know, I always wanted a girl or whatever, and, you know, I always wanted children, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's just blah, 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 you know? Like, how can you say shit like that and know that this happened? Okay, you were sick yourself, you didn't realize it, but now you know, and you still have contact with this person.
This is then where the saying comes in, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And her actions are showing you that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, how she acts shows me. That's why I say, like, what she said, what she used to say to me, because she hasn't said it in a while, is just blah, blah, blah. It's just lip service. You know what I mean? It's just saying what she thinks I want to hear, so I go along with her. I don't know, you know, or so. Like I said, she's very narcissistic. So as long as we all three of us, you know, my siblings, as long as we always went along with her, then everything was cool. But as soon as somebody started to like rock the boat or say, wait a minute, you know, something's not right here, then, you know, either you were cut off for a while, like she would not speak to you, or she would start, you know, trying to get the other two to go against you. You know, I mean, I cannot tell you how many times when I was growing up that I did something that rocked the boat and she would not speak to me. Do you know how fucking shitty that is as a child? You're at home with your own mother and ask a simple question, you know?
What's for dinner tonight?
And no, what should I make for dinner tonight was the question. But anyway, it didn't matter what it was, and they just ignore you, like you're not even fucking there.
That's fucked up, man.
And it was always because I somehow rocked the boat, you know. And when I was older, when I was an adult, and I asked her about that, her response was, the reason she did that was because if she would have opened her mouth, she would have said things that would have been worse than ignoring me.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, you know, I mean, you could have at least like acknowledged me, because you didn't even fucking acknowledge me, you know.
But what are you doing at an age of, I don't know, 12, 13 to rock the boat that much that, you know what I mean? Like, what
I don't know,
just
got a bad grade?
Yeah,
or,
I know.
You know,
like were you just being...
maybe I failed like a 6, because I remember a couple times I actually like failed the 6 weeks in a couple of classes, you know. But that was like, I think that was in junior high. I think it was like the 7th grade or something. It was the 7th grade. I failed like 2 6 weeks in a row. And it was like one class, you know. Yeah. Just stuff like that. I mean, you know. But, yeah, I think that's, you know, that's what, like, I know, like, when my son was, when my son was growing up, you know, if he would do something that would really, really, really like just fucking piss me off, I would be like, dude, I'm really fucking pissed off right now. You need to leave mommy alone for a little bit. You know? I love you, but you need to leave me alone for a little bit. Because I also didn't want to say shit to him that I knew I was probably going to regret later just because I was fucking pissed off, you know? But I also didn't want to just ignore him. You know what I mean? Because I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that to my kid. You know, you can't. I don't know what's worse. The corporal punishment that we received as children growing up, you know, because now it's considered corporal punishment, or being ignored. I honestly don't know which is worse.
I think it'd be
You know,
I mean, for me, it would be
I mean, I almost
being
want to say being ignored. You know.
Well, yeah, because
it's like you're not even fucking there.
Exactly, like you're not even in existence for this person because you got a bad grade.
Yeah.
You know,
Is it that I got a bad grade, or
you talked back?
The principal called my mom, or I talked back. You know, which I mean, you know, growing up, that like rarely ever happened, because as soon as you got, you know, as soon as you talked back, you got smacked or something. You know. So, but I mean, who knows what it would have been? You know, I mean, I told you, my parents were very. Not my parents, because it was my mom. It wasn't my dad. Just went along to. I think he just went along so she would shut up. You know? But like I was in the first grade. Here's a story for you. I was in the first grade. 6 years old, right? My English my first grade teacher. I want to say my English teacher. My first grade teacher. So we didn't have different subjects, right? It was all like one general teacher. She was a neighbor from of ours down the road. She was from one of the ranches down the road. I'll never forget her name was Mrs. Wilkinson, and she said, "Blah blah blah, have got," which is very British. And I said to her, "That's not right. You just say I have." I was fucking 6 years old, dude.
Yeah. So but you're 6 years old and you're actually saying something that how you were taught. And
right.
She said it. She did. You just.
Right. She said it like I have a cup of coffee, and she said I have got a cup of coffee. You know. Which now living here, I know in British English that's correct, but that wasn't correct in American English. But anyway, so I corrected her. She sent a note home. I was 6 years old. I gave the note to my mom, and I got a spanking. Because I corrected my teacher. Mm-hmm. 6 years later, I was in the 7th grade. I was in junior high. We were at a football game. And it was a football game where the junior high band was marched with the high school band together. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I don't remember. But I just remember we were with the high school band together. And we marched on the field. And after the halftime show, I went back into the stands because we had a break after the halftime show. And she was there in her wheelchair. And she said to me, "Yvonne, I want to apologize to you. You were right."
Wow.
And I just said, "Thanks." But, I was like, I already got a fucking spanking, bitch, like, the fuck didn't you apologize, when I was in the first grade, not now that I'm in the 7th grade, but, and then I told my mom that, and my mom was like, "Yeah, whatever, I mean, she couldn't take the spanking back anyways, but there was also no recognition or, is that the right word? Recognition? Mm-hmm. Like no confirmation. I don't know. I'm not sure what the word is that I'm looking for. But that I had been right. Uh-huh. You know what I mean?
I think recognition would be a good word. She did it to recognize.
Yeah.
Recognize, fool.
Recognize.
Oh. Yeah. But maybe also the teacher didn't realize that until later in life either, that there's some things sometimes too where I'm like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And it still plays in my mind. And I'm like, oh man, it hurts. Sometimes it hurts my heart because I was like, where you're like, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have been so abrupt or whatever to
Right.
somebody, or I don't know, and you're like, oh, I didn't mean it in that context, and they took it wrong, and it's still sometimes it'll come. I don't know why. I know a lot of women who, you know, when you're laying in bed and you're like laying there and you're about to go to bed and you're like, whatever happened to that one sweatshirt I had and like 2 years ago,
senior year of high school. Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? And you're like, but why in the fuck is this thought coming in my head now? Like, it just random thoughts of like coming into your head. But yeah,
right. Yeah, I think that goes back to, you know, what I say is like a little bit of my ADHD. Trying, like when I meditate, I have to have, you know, either the chime music, I don't know what to call it, or the handpan, just because that frequency keeps me
hold on,
centered.
Let's Google this just to
yeah. Stay tuned. We'll have the word for you in just a minute.
I'm gonna let's go with the Klangschale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Why so slow? Why so slow, Joe?
I don't know. Are you in the Wi-Fi?
So Klang.
We're waiting.
Sorry.
It's all right. We're still here. That's why it's so quiet.
It's so if you were like, sorry if I laugh. The translation is singing bowl.
Oh my God. No.
So Google Translation is not always the best.
No,
it's a singing bowl.
It's
the
a
bowl
singing
sings.
bowl. Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that's funny.
Klang
Oh my God.
Mine's too.
Next time we go to Shin, I'm gonna be like, ask them if they have any singing bowls.
The bowl is funny. No, okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll have to find a different translator. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know. That's funny. That is funny. A singing bowl. Ask Mr. Chat. He knows everything. He helps us a lot, Mr. Chat.
Yes.
So, what does it say?
It says in the word klang, the klangschale is primarily translated as singing bowl in English.
Okay. So if you know what a singing bowl is, let us know.
But here's like, you know, the one where you just, you know, go.
Right, it's just a little, they're like copper, I think.
Well, some of them are glass too, yeah.
And they hit them with a little...
Sound bowl, standing bell, Tibetan singing bowl.
I would say Tibetan singing bowl, maybe.
If that's really what it is, because I mean, like, I only know it.
I mean, it comes from the Tibetan, like the monks and stuff, right?
So
yeah, I don't know.
There's the translation.
That's funny.
The bowl that sings.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then, you know, you do have the handpan.
The handpan. Right.
Yeah.
Right. At least the handpan, I think it's the same word in any language, right? Handpan. Anyway.
Singing bowl, handpan.
The singing bowl and the handpan. There you go.
No. Yeah. One of the things that I used, a friend of mine, she used to have, now I'm not going to think of the word in English. Well, she called it a woman's circle. And there was like 6 of us. We did like rituals there that helped me a lot. Like, to become more aware of myself, you know, I just think getting into witchcraft, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Of course, I mean, we call it like, there's also a friend of mine who has a mentor, and she had a post on Instagram about all these people are just becoming spiritual nowadays, and she made a post about it, and she's like, that's awesome, like that people are becoming more spiritual, more aware, right? And you know, if you want to call it spiritual, if you want to call it witchcraft, if you want to call it, you know, anything else, I had actually responded and said, I really love the fact that I can, you know, just sit on this podcast and say that I'm a witch.
Right.
and also try to explain what that is means for me or for
Right.
you, and
Right.
what it actually thinks that other people think it is. You know, like like I have blood and skulls, and I'm
right. A broom.
I'm casting
Are
spells.
you flying on the broom? Right.
I mean, you do. There are spells, but and I'm not gonna say that. I'm pretty sure that there are people out there who practice witchcraft for the eviler reasons. Maybe
Right.
I want to say.
Right. I mean, I know you see on like all you have to do look on TikTok, and how often do you see spells like if somebody pissed you off, if somebody did you wrong or whatever. Yeah, that you can do a spell to like get back at them or make them feel bad, or
I just do a protection spell, so it's
I'm like, yeah, that's
reverse and be like, okay, I'm gonna send that back to the person.
Exactly.
Which would also be maybe into it's karma. I want to send it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to each his own, right? I mean, if somebody wants to do a spell like that, they can. But and if anybody tries to do that to us, just so you know, we're gonna go do an egg spell when we get done here. So or an egg cleanse. So
I think it's also hard when you are spiritual and you know that, and people want to come at you. Like just try it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like for me, I would not. I mean, I've thought about it. Doing like a spell like that, especially for like my
abuser.
But I always think like karma, like how is my karma going to come back to me? You know what I mean? I mean, we've talked about karma on the podcast before, like how I am really on the fence about it. I do really feel like what I give out comes back to me. But I don't know, like with my abuser, where is his karma? But you know what I mean?
From my opinion, or in my opinion, I think that's a different situation, because he, as an adult, took advantage of you. I mean, he abused you as a child. Mm-hmm. So, if of you being like, I don't know if you were like, I want to put a spell on him or hex him or whatever, I just that's for me a different opinion, instead of that bitch just cut me off, fuck that, I'm gonna write down her license plate number, she's going in the hex jar, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think there's also has to be some sort of like
balance or common sense.
Well, yeah, but also you can't just fucking go around making hex spells on everybody who's done you wrong just because they cut you off, or what I mean. But that's just something way above and beyond being doing something bad, you know what I mean? Like that was and being an adult and knowing what he was doing was wrong. That's just something like that you can do whatever you want, you know. I mean, I don't even remember the fucking dude's name who did that to me, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you want, you can go back and say, okay, it was this dude at this time and where the street was, and you can get around that. If you don't know the name, you could probably, but like, I just, my opinion is that's just a different situation than just being like, I don't like her anymore, so I'm just gonna put her in my hex spell jar, and she's going to but girl, but honestly, you don't have contact with him, you don't know, like, if he's going through some shit right now.
If you ask my mother, he is. I mean, she was constantly filling me in on what the fuck was going on with him.
Like maybe from the outside it seems like everything's good, but when you're behind closed doors, I have no fucking idea what's going on with that dude, and I know you don't want to know.
He's still alive.
A lot of people are still alive who have wronged kids, and they don't even go to, like, I just read that 2 16-year-old 14-year-olds, I can't remember, raped a girl, and the judge spared them jail time and get only why? Because they're young. They're gonna ruin their, what are you gonna
And what about the girl?
Yeah, but
like,
they're
her
old
life's
enough
not
to
ruined?
go and rape somebody, but the judge was sparing them the going to jail because it will ruin their lives.
Yeah, but what about the girl? Her life is ruined.
That's what I'm just saying. Like,
You know?
in a podcast that I was listening to, or that I still listen to, if you're gonna go around in life and saying that's unjust, that's not fair, that's not fair, that's not fair, and they're like, life isn't fair.
Right.
That's just how it is. And either you dwell on it or you get past it and you're like, okay, on to the next, because in believing and knowing that something's gonna, karma is going to get back to this person. And if we don't know what happens to us and when we die, and maybe something fucking happens in the afterlife, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like, I remember like thinking about that because my grandma passed away last Friday. And tomorrow will be already a week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And like, me being spiritual, I lit a candle so she can find her way into the afterlife.
Right.
And just like, she was really a remarkable woman. And I know you said you don't like that when somebody said, oh, they had a long life and they were old. But like, and I get that, but because I always think we are going to eventually die.
Right. Yeah,
and
we all
if we're gonna, I'd rather die
somehow.
when being 91 than 26 or you know what I mean, like
right.
or even your mother-in-law. I think she still had some years to live.
Yeah.
And that's like it was for me. My grandma was just the quality of life for her just wasn't
right.
If you're 91 and you're still like the one lady who was going the place where we used to work at, she was like 92, dude. She was going up in her dad's she might think she might have passed away now because I haven't seen her. It's been a while. I mean, I only worked there for 2 years, but I don't know what happened to her. All I know was there was a lady, she was 92, she was fit, and she was going up and down the stairs. I mean, like, that's, for me, a quality of life that if I'm 92, I'd like to have. But if I'm in a nursing home and have to be wheeled around in a wheelchair, and I can't even really, verbalize. That's just, like, this quality is, feel like the quality of life isn't,
Right.
But I think she was happy, and all I know is she did die peacefully. She wasn't in pain or anything like that. And that's what I had.
Right.
I had set my intention. I lit my candle, and I said, I wanted I knew it was evident. No, it was like that she was going to be passing away.
Right.
The doctor said, 4 to 7 days or something like that. So I knew it was like inevitable is what the word I'm looking for. So I just wanted to make sure that she had a peaceful, she didn't have any pain, and that she passed into the afterlife peaceful, and that she's wherever she is, she's playing the piano. Because that was my grandma. She played the piano. She taught like over 350 people, and I'm gonna start crying. And she's just like that she's playing the piano wherever she is, because that she just loved to play the piano.
Right.
And then there was a point in time where she said, I can't play the piano anymore. Something she really loved to do, or when people say, okay, I can't like drive anymore, I can't, like giving up of things that make you happy. But yeah.
I know that was with my mother-in-law was that way the last few years, that she couldn't go out in the garden anymore. I mean, she quit driving, and then she couldn't go out in the garden anymore, and that really, really, really brought her down, not being able to go out in the garden, because that was her passion, and that's one of the reasons that it's so important to us to keep the garden up, you know what I mean? It's like you said, when they don't have any quality of life, or it's no bueno.
Yeah, but I think we're going back to saying in the podcast, like think it's unfair, just keep in that mind state of everything's it's unfair, why do they get that and I don't, or things like that. It's then you're in a negative mind state, and like what you where your mindset is and your thoughts are is gonna project back onto you.
Yeah,
It's gonna come back.
definitely.
So if you keep thinking negative or saying it's not fair, then you're gonna see that everywhere. So
Right.
like if you buy a brand new car and it's even some like yellow different, you're like, okay, cool, I'm standing out, and then everywhere you look there's this yellow like
Right.
Volkswagen or whatever.
It's always so when we bought my new car, it's a Suzuki Swift. All of a sudden we saw them everywhere, and I was like, did everybody else just buy one? Or my husband was like, no, it's because you have one now, so you notice them everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Like everybody else bought one too. Okay, we have to make mine look different.
Or the time I thought I saw you in front of me, I'm pretty sure, but I swear it was you because you have that little sticker on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was your car.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, like, yeah.
No.
Or you see somebody and I'm like, that's your no, it's not. You're about ready to wave and then you look, okay. Yeah, like, how many times I've actually like think it's somebody and wave. So now I actually look at the license plate. Nope, it's not them. Because you have the same car, but you're like, nope, I've done that so many times. Start waving outside the car, you're like hanging out, like, ha ha, and then they drive by and they're like, they're like, what is wrong with you? I do not know you. Or they do wave and they're like, and then they're like, oh, do I know that person?
Like here, so where I live here, since it's such a small village, right? If you wave at anybody here, they'll wave back.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing like where I grew up in South Texas. My husband was like, the first time we were there, we were like going somewhere or driving down the road and people would wave and I waved back. He's like, do you know them? And I'm like, no. Do you know them? No. Who is that? I don't know. Why are you waving? And I'm like, because we're Texas. It's the friendly state, I'm like, it's the same thing here,
Yeah.
Like he said when he was growing up, if you didn't say hello or wave at somebody, by the time you got home, your mom would have known about it and be like, we saw your son at the corner of blah, 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 and he didn't bother to say hi, or, it used to be that way. I don't know how it is nowadays, but.
No, that was my daughter. When you're driving and does somebody let you go or, and you just kind of put your hand up, say thank you. And she's like, who was that? And I'm like,
I don't know.
So she's like, why'd you wave at them? And I'm like, I was just thanking him. And I was telling her that at that time I was little too. And my dad, he would always, and I'm like, that's the same thing. Who is that? I don't know. Well, why are you waving at them?
Right.
Just like that. Just the same thing. That's just like, it's just being friendly because you're
exactly. It's like saying please and thank you.
Exactly. You're just being, especially in a small town in America, it's just kind of like you're driving, and then you just kind of put your hand up. Like,
right. And then so where I work now, right? I mean, there's like because it's in a mall, there's like, everybody comes, and the older people will almost always say hi, like before they order, and then there's some people that walk in there, be like, yeah, can I get a blah, blah, blah? And I'll be like, hi. And they'll be like, oh, hi, can I get a blah, blah, blah?
Ooh, that happened to me one time in the alley. I wasn't even.
Because I'm like, can we have a little bit of,
friendliness?
Is it friendliness?
Hopeless.
Anstand?
Yeah.
Like, can we act like we're people instead of being
if you want to say manners.
Yeah, manners. There you go. Anstand. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Some guy did this in the alley because I wasn't even thinking on my list and I was looking for the eggs and I was getting a little frustrated because I couldn't find them. And then he came up to me and I was like, can you tell me where the eggs are? And I was kind of, and he was like, Esma, like it German. He's like, first of all, good morning. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, and I, apologized. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was just in my head and frustrated. But he was, like letting me know, like, hey, like, how about a nice friendly good morning first?
Right.
And then he showed me the eggs, and I was like, dude, I'm so sorry.
Right.
And he was like, okay,
Yeah.
But that's also, I just feel like I don't want to say, I'm pretty sure there's people like that in America too. But is it like the German mentality sometimes?
Maybe. I know the last time that we were in the States, and it's been 4.5 years now, that we were in the States, I was really surprised, like, except for the grocery stores, every store we went to, especially in the outlets, as soon as you walked in the door, you hadn't even, like, adjusted your eyes to the difference from, because Texas, right? It's like 50 degrees and blinding sunlight. Your eyes hadn't even adjusted, and there was somebody yelling at you, "Welcome in." I'm like, what?
You're like, where'd that come from?
Like, where the hell are you? And that was every store except for grocery stores and restaurants.
The thing that took me,
and I was like, that's kind of nice, actually. Instead of
but
just
that doesn't work here because
instead of just be like, what the fuck do you want? You know what I mean?
That's
that wouldn't work.
The Walmart's story where they tried to make the Walmart here and the people don't have it here, and that Germans think it's too fake. Because they had the greeters. When you go to Walmart, they greet you and they give you a card.
Welcome to Walmart!
Yeah.
Get your shit.
The Germans do not like that.
Yeah.
They find it to be fake and, what's the word I'm looking for? Fake.
Yeah.
They just find it to be it's too fake and
well, I know
you're trying too hard.
When my husband and I first got together, that was one of the things that he said he thought about Americans, is that Americans are very fake. And I was like, really? Like, why do you think that? And he was like, just look at like the people that you see. I love you, everybody. I love you, everybody. It's like you say, I love you to everybody. And I was like, yeah, he kind of has a point there. Like, yeah, we kind of do,
And then talk shit behind your back.
Yeah, and then talk shit behind your back, I was like, oh, yeah. But, it's not that Germans don't do the same, but they're just not, like, as obvious as we are.
I think they're
you know what I mean?
a little bit more upfront, though.
Yeah, they do tend to be
I'm not saying there's some people who talk shit behind your back here.
There's
such everywhere in the world.
There's most people will be like, yeah, I can't even think of like an example right now.
The thing that got me here is like what you don't do in America is they always say truce, bye, like when you're done, and like you're going back to America, and I'm at the dollar store, and I'm like, okay, bye, and they're looking at me like, why are you telling me bye? I don't know you.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just something that we do that here in Germany. We say, okay, truce, ciao, and they just being I don't know, like so.
But I noticed
we don't say hi in Germany. We just say bye.
Bye. Yeah, I know that's depending on where you are in Germany, like where I work, right? I always say good morning or good afternoon or and then
buonasera.
Then you see, I had this one customer this morning. They were two Spanish ladies, and I called out their drink order and set it up for them to pick it up, and then I turned back to the cash register, and she said in Spanish, gracias. And then she goes, danke. And I was like, de nada. And she was like, oh, you speak Spanish? And I was like, dude, it's all good. But yeah, I think too, like, I noticed too, like at work, if I tell somebody, I don't just say, bye or whatever, have a nice afternoon. All of a sudden their face changes, dude. Like that. Like, oh, hi. Oh, thank you. You too. Have a nice afternoon too, I'm like, it's amazing how like just one little sentence, and some people, you always have like the what do we call it in English, the misopeta,
the exception.
Yeah, but like what we even call a misopeta in English, like a sourpuss,
the Karen,
a sourpuss, the Karen,
Karen,
just
Kevin. Sourpuss is a good one too, yeah. A little sour.
I had a lady this morning. She wanted coffee beans, and she wanted them ground for her filter coffee machine. So she just said for filter, and I was like, okay, for like a filter machine or for hand filter, because hand filter is not a machine, right? So you pour it on top, and she was like, I've bought coffee here for 3 years, and I only ever said filter, and they knew exactly what I wanted. I was like, okay, Karen, calm your tits.
Calm your tits, yeah.
And so I just said, you know what? I'm new here, and I was taught we have to ask if it's for a filter machine or if it's for a hand filter, and that's why I'm asking you. And she just let out again, and I was like, all right, I got it. I understand. So I got her coffee. And I ground her fucking shit for a filter machine, and I charged her, and I said, and have a nice day. She just grabbed her coffee, fucking walked off, and I was like, wow.
There's always
alrighty then,
What the fuck is up your ass, bro?
I know. I was like, dude, it's fucking 9:30 in the morning. What the fuck crawled up your ass so early in the morning, But whatever. Anyway, Yeah. So totally went off on a
We do good.
way off on a totally different tangent.
We always do that,
I
so
know.
I guess hopefully the people like can just come along with our podcast of
There you go.
like
I
squirrels
know.
and detours and tangents and like just kind of like going from one thing to a different, because it just kind of plays into it.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. We started off with like how witchcraft has helped us heal, and now we're talking about Karen and how she needs to calm her tits. I don't know.
ADD.
There you go. I'm telling you, man. I've got some serious ADD, ADHD. I don't know. Some obsessive compulsive.
I'm very obsessed. I'm not. I've worked on that, but
I am not obsessive compulsive. I always tell my husband, I don't have a compulsion. It's just things need to go back where I put them originally. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because then
like with the knives.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's,
some
people would say that's obsessive compulsive behavior.
No, it's not. They need to go where they belong.
It goes to go back into the drawer where it belongs. Because if I want to cut my fucking toenails and I can't find the toenail clippers
or your tweezers.
Oh, and you're like, well, they're supposed to be in here, so you have to go and search the freaking apartment for the things, and you're like, where is it?
Right.
But you know where it is. It's in my daughter's room. Pretty much most of the time. Well, things like that, the nail clippers or my tweezers or a t-shirt or, yeah, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, that's...
exactly.
I don't know if that's obsessive compulsive, but it's nice to have to put things back where they do go, so everybody can find them and not have to search the apartment. Yeah, okay.
I agree.
So then, with that said, we will end this episode of our podcast. Thanks for listening. It's always nice. For listeners out there.
Exactly. We appreciate your support and comments, and as always. Everything in the description box, like, follow, comment. Till next time.
Social media.
Right, that's what I meant with everything in the description box.
Yeah, okay.
I just skipped over that part.
On our social media platforms. Oh my gosh, can't even talk anymore. Bye.
Bye.